The ancient peoples and native tribes who made their homes in what we now call North Carolina were masters of stewardship. They were also pretty good farmers. There was a weed they were also fond of. They felt like it had mystical properties. The first European settlers who arrived in this country just thought it made a pretty good smoke, and an industry was born. For the next couple of hundred years, tobacco built North Carolina agriculture. It sustained generations of family farmers. Then the world changed. Tobacco popularity began to decline and decline and decline. North Carolina farmers had a problem. They couldn't start over. They couldn't afford to. They needed a crop that would grow on the same land that tobacco liked. Hopefully use the same infrastructure, the same equipment, the same tools. In short, North Carolina farmers needed a miracle. Hello, sweet potatoes. Come on, let me take you where the food comes from. Brent, North Carolina and sweet potatoes, the history here, the legacy here. It's incredible how agriculture has built this state and sustained this state. There are people here whose farming history goes back generations and generations and generations.
Yes, sir. My family has a little different story. We're first generation farmers. I worked for a large farmer and he retired and we began farming in 2005. So we're building a legacy for our children.
So you're a relative newcomer in all of this.
I am the new kid on the block.
And yet you are now the head of the North Carolina Sweet Potato Commission, representing the grower side of things.
Yes, sir, I am, and I've been fortunate to be president the last 3 years. The North Carolina Sweet Potato Commission is one of the best things that ever happened to North Carolina sweet potatoes.
All farmers are competitors with other farmers, but all farmers are cooperative with other farmers too.
And all of us have one goal, and that's feeding others' families. Everything we're doing here is about feeding this country.
That all comes together and is represented in a couple of places.
So Nash Produce was started by Dale Bone in 1977, and in 2004, Dale retired from farming in 2006. A group of growers got together and felt like they'd like to have control of their packing and processing, and that's where Nash was born at.
So is safety in numbers and power in joining forces?
It is, and also we cover a wide geographic area also, so we're not all located in one county. We're spread across eastern North Carolina.
How many different growers make up Nash?
There's 12 grower owners.
So that spreads things out pretty good, but then there's a whole lot of other sweet potato growers in North Carolina too.
Yes, sir.
So that rolls on uphill.
It does.
To the North Carolina Sweet Potato Commission.
It does.
Which most of the people we're talking to never heard of until 5 minutes ago.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about what the commission does. They're not just sitting in the office cashing paychecks and smoking North Carolina tobacco cigars.
No, sir. The commission's main focus is promotion of North Carolina sweet potatoes. And I think you can just go back to look at sweet potato French fries, look at sweet potatoes in all the steakhouses, go back to Sue Langdon and many of the former board members, and we are just carrying the momentum that was started, and it's just continuing to grow.
So it's their job to find new markets,
find new ways to use sweet potatoes. We just want to sell sweet potatoes.
So there's a real connection here. Even the research community, North Carolina State University, the North Carolina Sweet Potato Commission, Nash Produce, the individual farms,
North Carolina Department of Agriculture.
It's all just one big circle, isn't it?
It is one big circle. And we just like to keep the wheel going around.
Your two boys are running around out here. They look like this is where they belong, Brent. Do you think this is where they'll stay?
I do truly believe they will. They have a love for it and a desire for it, and I think we're very blessed by that.
Carter, it's hot out here.
It is.
Man, it's still morning time. How do you stand it out here when it's this hot?
You just get used to it.
You just get used to it? Maybe you're born into it. How old are you?
10.
10 whole years old. What are you going to be when you grow up?
Farmer.
Farmer. This whole summer, you been working all summer or playing all summer?
Working most of the time.
Working most of the time. What kind of work they have you do around here?
Whatever.
Whatever needs doing, right? So you're toting and lifting and digging and planting and scraping and sweeping and and then every now and again you get on that tractor and do a lap, right? All right. So what do you think if you could tell the folks in America one thing about your family and one thing about what you do? How does it make you feel right in here? Good? Proud? Happy? You're doing good stuff, you know that? All right. Let's get out of this field. I'm about to melt.
Okay.
All right, let's do it. Come on. Colin, there's not a lot of kids in this country ever get a chance to see the site that's behind us. This is bales of tobacco. This is the crop that sustained North Carolina farmers from the time there was North Carolina farmers. Even the ancient peoples who were here were growing tobacco. That's just part of what you grow on your farm. You what, 14 years old?
Yes, sir.
You already know how to do everything on this farm out here. Tell me what you grow.
We grow cotton, peanuts, soybeans, tobacco, sweet potatoes, broccoli, and strawberries.
Goodness gracious, how do you keep track of all that?
We just do. It's a lot of things to keep up with.
Now, your daddy tells me that you could actually run this farm right now if you had to at 14 years old.
Probably could.
Probably could. How old were you? How old do you remember being out here running around doing all this?
As long as I can remember. I mean, from the time I was born up until now.
What's your favorite part about farming? What do you like about it?
Watching things grow.
Watching things grow. Something you put in the ground, you care for it, you tend it, you nurture it, and then you see it produce. That's a pretty good feeling, isn't it?
It sure is.
So a few years ago, you met a fella named Brent.
That's right.
Y'all decided you might make a go of it. Did you know you were going to be a farmer?
No, I did not know that I would be a farmer or a farm wife.
What's your family background?
So my family, I grew up nearby, a little town called Rocky Mount. I was involved in agriculture through 4-H and activities with that, and my degree is in soil science and agronomy.
So you were going down that road anyway.
That's right. Farming is in my family's background, but not in North Carolina, not anywhere near what we do now.
Sure.
We start our sweet potato process from a tissue culture plant, just a small plant. There's no actual true seed involved. They're all vegetatively propagated. Sweet potatoes, the way we start them, it's from a plant, a true plant. And
Right.
Those plants are reproduced, and then they're planted in the field. And then at the end of the first year, the seed is harvested. Everything is harvested and used for seed, all the potatoes. And those will go in storage much like this. And then the second year, we will make sweet potato plant beds with those and make plants. On our farm, because we're in the certified seed business, it's a 2-year process before anything is sold to other producers.
So you're not just producing seedlings for your farm, you're producing seedlings for other farmers as well. That's part of your farming, that's part of your agribusiness operation.
It is, and the most joyous part is be able to bring my children up along with us, what we do every day, and teach them the science, teach them the farming, and be able to do it together.
Rebecca, we found about the best place there is to be on a sweet potato farm. We're in the potato house. We're in the storage house where these things are going to sit and ride, and they come out over a period of months. Now there's sweet potato season, and there's sweet potato harvest season, but those are the same sweet potatoes that are going to be coming out of storage units like this for the next year.
Year round.
And be just as good coming out as they were going in.
Just as good. Looks like they just came from the from the field.
Now you got to make sure they're good when they go in.
Oh, absolutely.
Because that's what people always tell me, that they're not going to come out of there any better than they came in. If you put good in, you're bringing good out.
It's very true.
But then come to find out, you can just take a sweet potato. It's delicious. It's one of the most nutritious things you can eat.
It is.
So do you have a generational connect with it that way?
Slightly. So definitely my generation, we will have it for breakfast, have it for lunch, have it for dinner, have it for snack, breakfast.
Breakfast sweet potato.
If you've never had an avocado sweet potato toast, that's where you need to go.
Something tells me I'm fitting to
It's delicious.
that. Wow.
Yep.
So it's not a holiday thing.
Not a holiday.
It's a year-round thing.
Year-round.
You can go to any steakhouse now and get a baked sweet potato fries.
Can.
These are all part of the changes that the sweet potato industry in North Carolina has seen come about really in the last couple of decades.
Yep. They've gotten much more popular after really the discovery of how good they are for you.
Well, again, they've always been delicious. We just didn't know.
Someone just found out.
Right. It's kind of like,
The
oh
secret.
man, this is really, really good for you too. That almost seems too good to be true.
Almost too good to be true, but
like,
it's true.
It's like a candy bar that's also very healthy for you.
Something like that.
So there must be a great sense of pride. Fisher Farms is still a family entity, still an independent private entity, but you're also part of a larger entity, Nash Produce, which is a cooperative
of farmers
that's owned by the growers.
Yes.
Several years ago, a lot of farmers got together and said there's power in numbers, and they formed the Nash Produce Cooperative. How does that arrangement work out?
It works great. Many years ago, I wasn't so sure it was all going to work out, but Thomas Joyner and Richard Joyner, I mean, they've transformed this place. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's huge. We're shipping sweet potatoes all over the world. The farmers don't have to worry about where they're going to sell them. You just got to grow them, harvest them, and get them to Nash Produce. And then Nash Produce is going to do the rest.
And so that infrastructure lets y'all just focus on what you do best.
What we do best.
Grow the sweet potatoes.
North Carolina sweet potatoes.
Just one word too.
Yes, sweet potatoes
potato.
is one word.
You know, it's funny. They're trying to get me educated on that, and I've got it figured out, but my spell check on my laptop doesn't.
Spell check doesn't. Nope.
If folks go look in the dictionary though, and go look in the scientific dictionary, they'll see
It's one word.
sweet potato is one word.
One word.
Thomas, I know you and Nash Produce and the North Carolina Sweet Potato Commission and the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and the great state of North Carolina does not decide when these sweet potatoes are ready to come out of the ground. There's no way to sugarcoat the fact that farming is hard work.
Very hard work. You into all the variables, all the heat. I mean, it's just truly tough out there.
Even though Nash Produce is a company, it's not a company. It's owned by the grower families who got together to form Nash Produce.
It was purchased in 2006 by a group of growers who saw that without this facility and without this ability to market, they'd be challenged to continue to expand their operations. We're owned by 15 to 16 growers. We actually have 75 to 80 actual growers out of the North Carolina group of growers, out of the 400, that grow for Nash Produce. So roughly 20% of the growers grow for us.
How did you come into the sweet potato business?
I grew up on a small tobacco farm a few miles from here.
This is a story we've heard a time or two in this state.
Exactly where I grew up, and ultimately I went to college and I'm a CPA by education and worked as a controller, and ultimately when the group decided they wanted to buy this, I was offered the opportunity to head it up for them. And so with my background in agriculture and finance and so forth, it turned out to be, it's worked out okay. You know, when you look back at how many farmers it used to take to feed the country as opposed to how many are actually feeding it now, everybody's got a lot to do. I mean, it takes a tremendous amount of management to make all this work.
We've been particularly lucky with sweet potatoes here in North Carolina because we early on In fact, this is our 60th anniversary of the North Carolina Sweet Potato Commission. And the Sweet Potato Commission was chartered by the legislature to be able to go to farmers and say, okay, give us X number of dollars per acre, and we're going to take this money and we're going to use it primarily for research and for promotion. And that has worked out great.
And so that's what funds the research. That's what keeps North Carolina State research going, is the dollars coming from the growers. It just creates a flow, a continual flow.
That's exactly right. And me as a researcher over the years, I would receive from the Sweet Potato Commission, I would receive a list of things they would like for us to work on. And if one of them was in my area, then I would write up a proposal and say, okay, for this number of dollars we can do this, and this is the way we did business.
This is a pretty nice office.
It sure is. It can't be beat. Some would even call it pretty sweet.
Pretty sweet. You would call it pretty sweet because you're the head of the North Carolina Sweet Potato Commission, even though you've got a lovely little office in Benson, North Carolina, and the whole team is there with you. You guys are out here in the fields every day with the farmers. I would guess if you went out on the streets in any state other than North Carolina, what is the North Carolina Sweet Potato Commission? Their answer would probably be the what?
Correct. You're absolutely right. And that is always a perfect introduction for me to explain what is the commission?
What is the commission?
And what are any of these commodity associations, member organizations, and why are they so important?
And that's the thing. It's part of the invisible world that's all part of where our food comes from.
For sure. The industry of agriculture is immense, and the ecosystem within agriculture is so exciting and impressive and intricate. And what it takes to get our food from the fields to plates around the globe, it involves so many hands, so many big brains, and a whole lot of enthusiasm and passion. So it's important to note that the North Carolina Sweet Potato Commission's mission is to promote the consumption of North Carolina sweet potatoes. Well, we do that in a number of forms and fashions, but first and foremost, it is all about promotions and marketing and creating new market opportunities and channels, just as you indicated.
How can one state dominate an industry so?
Well, I always feel that it is representative of just how incredible North Carolina agriculture is and the community of agriculture. So you already indicated our relationship with the Department of Ag, North Carolina State University. There's two other universities that we work closely with, coupled with farmers, and that's where the root of it is. Farmers who want to continually be the best that they can be, that welcome opportunities to research, welcome opportunities to collaborate, and certainly are progressive in how they look at what's next. How do we get to the consumer next? We have the best farmers and ranchers in this state, and I know I'm biased, but it's true. And because of that, they took infrastructure that was already existing. Most of our sweet potato producers, at one point in time, their family probably grew tobacco. Well, tobacco loves that same type of soil type, the same type of temperatures that we're experiencing today and throughout the groves.
The same equipment, the same storage facilities.
The labor, all of it. So
it's amazing serendipity, isn't it?
It dovetailed very nicely together. So as one industry may be declining in consumer consumption and demand, the interest in consumer consumption and demand for another was rising, and yet the infrastructure was already existing. It's an easy and exciting story to tell and to convey to folks. One of the most exciting things for me, having joined this organization a year ago, is the whole athletic side of sweet potatoes.
Athletic side.
Right. So most athletes, if you start asking them what they eat, they're going to tell you they eat a lot of sweet potatoes.
Really?
Because they are so incredible at rebuilding muscle and nutrients that you may have lost in the workout, and to help continue to get you stronger and maintain that level of performance that you work so hard to get.
They're feeding a machine. I mean, these are multi-million-dollar machines now. How far do North Carolina sweet potatoes go? Where, how, what's that map look like?
It's impressive, quite honestly. In the last 10 years, North Carolina has exported sweet potatoes to 39 different countries.
39 countries.
So the passports are pretty impressive for many of these sweet potatoes that are traveling. And as a native North Carolinian, I am so proud to know that what is grown in our soil and across our state is able to be shared, fed to, and provided incredible nutrients to communities literally across the world, not just here in this country. And we have quite a footprint here in the US as well, but our international markets are phenomenal and very exciting.
You look right at home here. I guess there's a reason for that.
Yeah. Spend a lot of time right here.
You spend a lot of time right here and you've been here a minute.
Yeah.